I'm here with Jerry Allen, who's a stonemason, the stonemason working on the project, and the only one. And Jerry has basically been working here for several months now, doing a lot of different work for us. But today what we're going to talk about is the repointing that's happening to the flint walls here. Jerry, can you just tell me a little bit about what you're doing here?
Well, basically cutting out the old pointing and then cutting back to a decent depth so it's solid.
Yeah.
And then after it's been cut out, which has been cut out already, then we wet the wall up so it all sticks to it, which is just basically give it a good soaking.
I've got a 7-year-old who'd like this bit.
And it gets all the dust out as well. So, you know, if someone needs to stick something, if there's dust there, it's going to stick to the dust and then it's going to fall off. So you clean it all out, give it a really good soak, all the way down. I'll do that bit time, then you can see. And then you use your pointing mix,
Right.
which is 3-in-1 NHL. Yeah.
What's
Do you know
that
that
in
one?
English?
That's natural hydraulic lime.
Right.
Yeah, and you use that because this stuff is not porous.
Right.
So it's got to stick behind the flints, because it doesn't stick to the flints, it actually sticks to the stuff behind.
Right.
Or,
Okay.
you know, the building behind. So then, what you do is get a good job of it. And what a lot of people do is they try and put it around the flints and you'll be there for hours and it doesn't always stick. So I was taught when I first moved down here by a very good bloke actually, was you chuck it at it.
Right.
So it sticks to it.
I ice cakes in a similar fashion actually, but
No,
definitely not.
But when people laugh at that trowel,
And is that
yeah,
that
I don't know. I
shape?
just found it that easy because people just normally use a pointed trowel,
Yes.
and I've seen them, and I don't know. It started off sort of pointed.
It looks as though it's seen many
But
years of use.
It's been used a few times. So you just basically chuck it in, and that fills all the voids. I mean, obviously, when you've got a bigger hole, or you've got something like that, you push it in as well,
Right.
so it sticks.
So
Then you do that, and we can see what I've done.
yeah, so obviously here you've pointed right across, and you can hardly see the flints there at all.
But then, because of how we wanted it as a medieval,
Yeah. So up
So
at the top
up
here,
here,
this grey part is the
this-
medieval
yeah.
render that we're trying to blend in
you've got to
with.
keep it pretty full in the first place before you brush it off. Because if you don't put enough in, you're never going to get like that. And you have to cut it back a little bit more. Normally on new builds, newer flints or flush work like a church, you wouldn't cover it up so much.
Right.
You'd see more flint, because obviously you don't want to get too much lime to stick to the flint. But with this, how they want it like that, it colours the flints as well.
So is the medieval render up the top, was it originally rendered completely and this is sort of erosion, or was
Yeah,
it
it's
rendered so you could see it?
I spoke to a few people about is that when they built this, it probably would have been built with a shutter, and you can see that it's not. And some of it is quite nice flints. Around the other side was brought to coarse, as they say. But then it becomes really random, and they're like field flints, not very good flints.
Yes.
So the one they used to do was just render the whole lot afterwards and lime wash it, and then it was this lovely white chapel that everybody came to, and it was the centre of the village really.
Pity we can't lime wash it again, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
It looked better than that though. But no, that would have been all flat basically, and then possibly lime.
Because one of the things that I noticed when we were talking before is that when you look about this height, that all the flints are going quite nicely in rows, and then almost as though you get above head height.
I don't know, perhaps they started and realised they didn't have enough decent flints.
Right.
Or the person who was doing it cleared off to another job or something like that. I don't know, because it does stop that side as well about that height. But it's one of those things you'd never know, would you?
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Why on earth they would do that?
It's quite random up to that point as well. Or sorry, quite brought to course as well.
Yeah.
And when you get up there, I mean, I know there's been newer bits put on or been repaired.
Yes.
As you can see up there where the brick's been put in above the window, that's been repaired.
Yes, that's I hadn't noticed those before, that there were actually bricks in there. Okay.
We probably had a collapse or something like that above where the windows have been done again, because they've been done in brick, so they've probably done that at the same time as they've done the windows. So yeah, I mean, when it finished the other side, I don't know. Like you say, they could have run out of flints. or the
I suppose
person doing it
we'll
just-
never know, will we?
I mean, they might just, they might have shuttered it up to that point, and then realise it was going to take too long, and then just pump them on. Really, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of them things you'll never know. Really.
So what do you do next on here? I mean, obviously you've got this all covered over.
You let it dry.
How long does it take to dry?
Depends on the weather.
Right.
This side is the north,
Yeah.
so it will take a bit longer. Obviously, with sunshine on it, it'll go quicker. This time of year, because it's good weather. I would have thought, what's today? Tuesday. A couple of days. That probably brush off on Thursday. The lower stuff won't, because of the moisture in the ground.
Right.
And as it dries, the moisture seeps down as well. So the lower
Right.
stuff always takes a bit longer than the higher stuff.
Right.
Stuff next to stone will dry quicker because the stone will suck the water out, basically.
Is there any problem if it dries too quickly, or?
Not really. Well, I've never had any fail. And normally, if it's too sunny, you just keep wetting it up with a little spray, or cover it up with a sheet.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I've never had any. You might have to cut a little bit out where it's gone off too much, but.
And I see that you've done the bits at the top first. Is that deliberate, or is it just the way you decided to do it?
You always do the bit that's at the top first, because if you do the bottom first, and then you go and start pointing up there, and you can see the mess that you make pointing up.
Yes, there's quite a lot on the ground.
And it all falls on top of the stuff you've already done.
Yeah.
So you'll have little bits.
Kind of
You always start
yeah,
from the top.
You always start from the top.
Top and work down,
okay.
so it keeps it clean, basically.
Okay, so once it's dried off, obviously you don't have a dry bit to demonstrate on, but once it's dried off, what happens next?
Then you get your wire brush.
Yes.
And there isn't. I'll do it on this wet. I don't know if you'll be able to see. And you go work your way around the flints.
Right.
Basically, like cleaning a hippopotamus's teeth. I think it's like. If you go around.
Cleaning a hippopotamus's teeth. Right. Okay.
And once you
Good.
Obviously, brush it, but you can't really see on this one. You brush it back to a nice flat-ish surface, so it shows the aggregate in the sand. But with that, you get lines in it, and you'll end up with lines. So then use this brush, and you go over it.
So the bristle brush just gives a softer finish to it, just smooths it off.
Takes away the lines from the wire brush, basically. And
Excellent.
yeah, and that's it. That is basically the pointing up with flint work.
It looks fantastic. So how long has it taken you in total or will it take you in total to do all this pointing up?
On the whole lot, or just
whole chapel?
the whole chapel? Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think how long I took on back. About 5, 6, 8. About 20 days, I would have thought. 20 days.
But obviously it's with drying times and things like that, it's quite a bit in it, isn't it?
Earlier that we had good weather, and it went off reasonably quick, not too quick.
Yeah.
So it was easier to brush off. But when you're around, obviously the north side, I mean, it might go off in a couple of days. It might take longer. So
Right.
it depends on the weather, basically. But that hopefully will start brushing off on a couple of days' time.
And of course what this means eventually is that we have all the flints stabilised back in the wall, they're not going to drop off, we've got rid of the horrible old concrete that was in there.
The thing is, I mean, with people and flint walls, if they are a bit wobbly, I mean, I've done an old outhouse for somebody and the wall's been going like that. But as soon as you point it up, it just stops. It stops the whole movement. But with this stuff, it gives you movement as well.
Right.
It's flexible.
Right.
That's why they used it, and that's
Yes.
why we're using it now. So you get movement. If the wall moves, it moves with it. But if you put cement in it, as the Victorians love to do,
Yeah.
you'd get a big crack appear, and then the whole lot will fall out because of the cement. But that's why, because it breathes as well. When it goes off as well, once you've brushed it off, and you've got a finish like that, there's a skin. It forms a skin, only maybe 2 or 3 mil thick at the most, and that stays. But if that falls off, the stuff behind it hasn't gone off, and then that goes off again, and you get another 2 or 3 mil. So it's just.
So it's almost like layers of skin that are will slow off over time.
Over time, it will keep getting the skin back on. So if it deteriorates, then you get another skin. And then it lasts a bit longer. So it is good stuff. I mean, they knew what they were talking about when they.
So what we're saying basically is that 600 years ago we had a much better idea about using this building technique than we did 200. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this building, as you know, is how old. I mean, it would be for another, at least that, I would have thought.
Well, as long as it lives out the length of the Heritage Lottery Fund grant, we'll be happy, won't we? No, that's fantastic, Jerry. Thank you.